Good day, I'm Lisa Rowe and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, September 18, 2024. The law governing the Integrity Commission is in urgent need of revision. That assertion comes from Prime Minister Andrew Holness, who insists that the current context of the Commission's operations weakens its credibility. Mr. Holness says everything must be done to ensure the appropriate laws are in place to prevent the politicization of the Commission and to support its work. The Prime Minister's comments came yesterday as he challenged some of the findings of an Integrity Commission report into his statutory declaration submitted for 2021. The report, in addition to the ruling of the Director of Corruption Prosecution, were tabled in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. Mr. Holness challenged the conclusion that in 2022 there was unexplained growth in his net worth of $11.9 million or less than 1% of his total net assets. He also rejected claims that he acquired an asset for which the source of funds was not adequately explained and that he hindered the examination of his declarations by not supplying information requested.
Let it be known that I have complied with any obligation placed on me within the law. As far as I am aware, the company with which I am directly associated is compliant and up to date with its filings. I will take legal advice on this report and its recommendations, including recommendations for referral to other entities.
The Prime Minister also addressed other claims in the report summary, including that he omitted bank accounts from his declarations, one of which, he says, was incorrectly reported as a US dollar balance by a financial institution. Mr. Holness said these matters were cleared as the accounts in question, by his recollection, were dormant. He explained that other accounts subsequently referenced were his parents and dated as far back as 1975 when he was a child.
I have never claimed these as my assets, and I am satisfied that the Director of Corruption Prosecution ruled that there was insufficient evidence to support claims that I intentionally omitted bank accounts from my declarations, and that there is greater evidence to support my explanation as opposed to evidence to the contrary. I also note that no other matter in the report was referred to the authorized authority, that is, the Director of Corruption Prosecution.
In a statement to Parliament, the Prime Minister pointed out that while the Integrity Commission's report examined his personal financial affairs from 2018 to 2023, including associate private third-party businesses and transactions, only his 2021 declaration was submitted for investigation. He informed that over 3,600 transactions were examined, 28 bank accounts, and over 80 witness statements collected, adding that the investigation led to the hiring of an international forensic accounting examiner for 6 months.
After this most thorough interrogation of my personal affairs, which is not in any way connected to public funds or a benefit resulting from my office, they were unable to conclude regarding illicit enrichment.
The government's revenues for April to July 2024 outperformed the budget by 4.5%. The details were outlined at the Economic Program Oversight Committee EPOC's quarterly press briefing on Friday. Chairman Keith Duncan says the total revenues and grants of $301.9 billion exceeded budget projections by $12.9 billion. Tax revenue accounted for $270.8 billion, with $27.5 billion coming from non-tax revenue.
Tax revenues actually surpassed budget by $3.7 billion, or 1.4% for the review period. This was primarily due to stronger than expected total income and profits, which was $5.5 billion, higher than budget. This was tempered by lower than projected receipts from production and consumption and international trade.
Mr. Duncan points out that travel tax inflows of $9.5 billion was a little over $2 billion behind target, reflecting slower than projected visitor arrivals. Non-tax revenue, which exceeded the budget by $7 billion, was positively impacted by the drawdown of the government's insurance policies with the Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility, CRIF. Meanwhile, Mr. Duncan says expenditures of $336.2 billion were marginally behind budget by $6.2 billion, or 1.8%, but actually $37.1 billion higher than the total spending for April to July 2023.
Total recurrent spending was for April to July was 32.4 billion, and this was due to higher program spending and increased wage bill consequent on the public sector compensation restructuring.
For the review period, central government operations resulted in a fiscal deficit of $34.3 billion compared to a budgeted deficit of $53.4 billion, which was higher than the $18.4 billion deficit recorded for April to July 2023. A primary surplus of $21.7 billion was generated for the review period, which exceeded the budgeted surplus of $2.3 billion, but was $12.9 billion lower than the surplus reported for April to July 2023. The Ministry of Education and Youth is reporting a remarkable improvement in this year's primary exit profile PEP exam at the grade 5 level when compared to the grade 4 sitting last year. The grade 5 results were distributed to regional divisions and schools yesterday. The update was given by Portfolio Minister Favour Williams in yesterday's reopening session of Parliament, which returned from its summer break. For language arts, approximately 68% of students achieved proficiency or higher, which the minister describes as a substantial increase from the 48% of those who sat PEP 4 in 2023. Meanwhile, 47% of students who sat mathematics achieved proficiency or higher. This also is a notable rise from the 25% proficiency rate in 2023 for those who sat PEP 4. There was also 46.8% proficiency or higher for social studies and 46.4% for science.
Those children who took PEP 4 last year have done noticeably better at PEP 5. And that it is a strong signal that we will see even better results for PEP 6 in 2025. That was the purpose of having the PEP exams over 3 years, so that we begin to develop a profile for each student and can use the time between assessments to work with students and strengthen their understanding of fundamental skills. Mr. Speaker, that strategy is bearing fruit.
And finally, the National Housing Trust, NHT, is reminding contributors and mortgagors who were affected by Hurricane Beryl that the deadline to apply for post-hurricane peril moratorium is September 30. Assistant General Manager of Corporate Communications and Public Affairs, Dwayne Burbick, tells JIS News that the newly introduced initiative is designed to offer financial relief to those who experience property damage or economic hardship as a result of natural disasters.
And that simply means that the NHT will put a pause on some elements of the mortgage payment on a monthly basis for a period of up to 6 months to allow the mortgagor some more time to recover, get back on their feet before resuming full mortgage payments.
Mr. Burbick is urging all eligible individuals to act promptly to secure the support they need. He also underscores that this inclusive approach will ensure that everyone who needs assistance can receive it.
We understand that life happens and circumstances of individuals may change from time to time. So I always take the opportunity to encourage them that if there's anything, we're talking about Hurricane Beryl in this particular case, but if there is anything that is impacting you as a mortgagor at any time, that for whatever reason you're unable to meet those obligations to the NHT, we're asking you to reach out and have that conversation with us.
Persons are required to complete an application form and to submit a valid government-issued identification and tax registration number, along with additional documents where applicable. These include photographs of property damage and proof of reduced income or unemployment. For more information, visit the nearest NHT office or log on to nht.gov.jm. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Lisa Rowe. Thanks for watching.